Hey, Adam.
Hey, Peter.
Sounds on.
Sounds on.
Is it?
I think so.
Is anybody here?
There's some people here.
Look, I'm caught under a sign next to you. It says you'll hear it.
No. We have no noses.
Noseless.
Noseless. What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
We're live.
We're live. Is this thing live?
This thing is live. We're doing this every Monday
Yeah.
here on YouTube. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been sheltering at home still.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
the new way we roll.
As you said, it's March 135th.
136 actually.
Sorry, 136.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you missed a
I've
day.
lost track
Yeah.
there. But yeah, man, I'm doing all right. I'm excited to be outside of my living room. That's nice.
And it's exciting. We have a new addition to the pod suite today. We have espressos.
Buddy, you've been slowly turning our studio into such the hang.
Right.
It's
Well, I
been-
mean,
it's been nice.
It's a pod suite. It's not a prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to survive out of it.
We're not animals.
We are not
Yeah.
animals. That is true.
It's true,
Cool.
man.
So we got some folks here. What's up, Jake?
We got lots of people here, and so we'll record our You'll Hear It podcast. We'll do 3 episodes here, and we'll do it live here on YouTube, and we'll take your questions. It'll be a bit of a Q&A, a musical Q&A, or anything else, really. So we already have some good questions here in the chat.
Yeah.
And hit us up here in the chat if you have any questions about music or the piano or whatever. Practicing, we like to practice quite a bit.
We
so.
do. Yeah. Do you think over the last 6 months, how would you say your practice routine has changed, or not changed, but like what's the intensity of your practice routine compared to the 6 months prior, i.e., pre-pandemic, during pandemic?
Well, it is one great thing about working from home is that I'm able to slip away and practice, even if it's in little chunks for something, a lot easier than if I'm in here in our beautiful open studio headquarters and I wanted to slip away and practice and get to a piano that wouldn't bother the entire office. You know, I could go across the street because I have my nice grand piano over there.
Yeah.
But oftentimes I'd be like, yeah, but then I got to go outside and I got to go across the street and I got to get out my key card and all that stuff. So at home, I'm able to slip into various rooms to practice any of the musical endeavors that I like to practice, which is really, really nice. So I would say I've definitely become a better regular daily practicer. I also teach the daily guided practice session every day on Zoom, which is just, there's something about having like a daily ritual like that other people show up to, that forces you into, this is why people do spin classes.
Yeah.
It's because it's like, well, if I don't go, then I won't, then, you know, like Johnny's going to give me a bunch of crap about it because, you know, he's going to call me a baby because I didn't show up to spin, whatever, to hockey.
Yeah.
Do something more masculine this spin class.
No, spin class. Hey, don't sleep on spin class.
I know, it's hard, man. Spin class is hard. But no, I feel like that with the daily guided practice session, I feel like, well, we gotta, you know, everybody's working. If Rick can make it, I can make it. You
That's
know?
right.
If Janet can make it, I can make it. I gotta fulfill my end of the obligation. So I would say I've been practicing a lot more.
Yeah, and I think it's that camaraderie, it's the accountability. I think it's a beautiful thing what you're doing, and I think at any time we want to, like personal growth, it's always a dish served, you know, shared with others. Like we want to grow, and it's not even about comparing ourselves to others. It's about just kind of being part of a human group that's trying to do the same thing, like just to get better at the piano, you know,
For sure.
whatever level we're at, and it's a fun thing when you can get like-minded people together and kind of chart your progress and go on a little bit of that journey together.
I'll say too, before we get into the show, because this is gold, man. This should be part of the podcast.
I know. We're gonna have to repeat all this once we actually start.
The one thing that's really changed too is, you know, I've been wanting to have, leading up to this time, which we didn't know we were going to have, I'd been wanting to like work on some things, it sounds weird to say, but some personality things that affect my artistry, right?
Yeah.
Like some things about finding performative confidence and peace and stability inside of a performance, which is something that we're always thinking about. Anybody who performs has to think about this, or else you would be in your head the whole time and it'd be just awful, right?
Yeah.
And we've all been there at various points. But like I've wanted to kind of stabilize that for myself, and this has been really good. Just focusing a lot on meditation, focusing a lot on the sort of the inner game of playing, right? Like taking this time with myself, finding that performative stability and confidence has been a huge game changer for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean there's no way to avoid a certain additional amount of solitude during this time, and opportunity for introspection. And so I think that if we think about those things, I know I've been thinking about that and how it informs not only my practice, but my playing, my art, my approach. It's like, this is a solo piano time if ever there was one.
For sure, man.
And so, if we embrace the constraints that are put on us, look, there's always constraints. This might feel like the most constrained time, but, if you embrace the constraint, there's freedom there, actually, I believe. And so, what we have control over every day is what our personal growth is, and how we apply that to our instrument and to our artistic development is really just up to us.
For sure.
Especially during this time.
Well, should we get to it?
Yeah, but I get nervous about this part because I have some additional like while you're chilling over there, I gotta cue. I got a lot of responsibilities.
Well, it's a good thing that none of it matters at all.
Should we ask folks if? Oh, thank you guys. There was a couple compliments on our redux of the studio. We invited our two friends Sean Jones and Christian McBride into the studio with us. That's been kind of fun. That was like 10 minutes before we started, though.
Yeah, we were literally like, what do we have laying around that isn't a wall?
Yeah, we thought it looked too boring. We didn't want it to be overly busy, but
It looks good. And I'm just looking here at this establishment shot. I like the posters here that I got in Nolans, baby.
Oh, you talking about Nolans?
I am. Yeah, no, I'm liking the way they kind of vibe with everything. We look good, man. This is one thing we've definitely got together in the pandemic is our live stream game is on point.
Yeah, did we even do? Yeah, we did do live. It was such a big thing before, though, when we did it. It was like pre-pandemic. It was like, let's schedule a live stream for November.
I know. Yeah. It's like maybe we'll get like 5 people on a live stream.
Now it's like we're going live in 5 minutes.
I know, right? Let's go live.
Let's go live. Okay. No, I'm procrastinating because I got my big thing to do. But okay, I think I'm ready. Okay, let me think about this. I'm gonna go boom. I've already got that sound on. Can you see how nervous I look? No, we're all good. Okay, so what are we doing? We're doing the
do the intro and we'll just go right into it. We'll just take some questions. So leave your questions in the chat, y'all.
Can you guys hear us?
Oh yeah, let's do a little sound check. We got caught last week.
We did.
How's the voice to keys ratio?
Adam is the acoustic piano. Is that what they're hearing? And I'm the Fender Rhodes.
Oh wait. Now the Fender Rhodes sounds cleaner. I don't like that. It has a cleaner eighth note. I don't appreciate that.
Not at all.
Let us know. Sounds good. Yeah,
piano and Rhodes sounded good. Okay, now it's time for witty banter. What do you know about that? Hey, Adam.
Hey, Peter.
How long are we going to be in this pod cave, this pod studly studio? What's going on?
Last I heard was mid-2021.
Mid-2021. Okay. Well, we're almost there.
I'm Adam Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Daily music advice coming at you.
Coming at you today, Peter. We are live again on YouTube. We've been loving going live on YouTube. You can go to our Open Studio YouTube channel every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and you can check us out and ask your questions of us, and then we will broadcast this on our podcast. And I've been loving these, man. We've had some great questions on YouTube. Way better than Instagram. Way more interesting people on YouTube.
What does that say about the Instagram demographic?
I think it's just the hipper people on Instagram, but nerdier nerds on YouTube. That's what I'm garnering here.
Yeah. It might be a little younger crowd too on the IG. Not quite as experienced, not quite as seasoned veterans that are asking. These are some good questions.
I still love you, Instagram. I don't hate you. I don't hate you, Instagram. But we already have some good questions lined up, and we can get right into it. Actually,
let's get into it.
So let's see here. Oh, Vladimir has a great question to kick things off. Something about count in and how to establish swing, please. So a count in to a tune can be
Wait, did you say count in? I
Like
thought
a-
you said an accountant.
an
Trying to
accountant.
swing and groove. I was like, forget about it.
Well,
Never will
accountant is
happen.
it's definitely an important part of any musician's arsenal
Right.
of tools. You're going to need
Financial
a good one
arsenal,
because
yeah.
we're usually straight crap at accounting. If I'm being honest, no, I think
Count in. I got it. I
Yeah,
got
he
it,
means
okay.
a count in, which is an important thing.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be as strict as like a 1, 2, a 1.
One,
Oh, you know, my favorite is 1, 3, 1, 2, 3.
It's so logical and correct, but so annoying.
It's so
right?
lame. It's so lame. The important part about anything, whether you're doing this 1, 2, a 1, 2, or you're doing something like both of those can be a count in. Like you can just start playing whatever you want. But the key to both those things, you might have noticed, Vladimir, is that I came in with a solid sense of the time from the get go. It
Yes.
wasn't wishy washy either way. I wasn't like 1, 2, 1,
Right.
2, 3, 4. Like it wasn't that, and it wasn't like come on, let's go. You know, like you're setting things up in a very clear way with the time. That's the most important part.
That's like the opposite of the shoegazing. You're like you started gazing to
Stargazing.
the sky.
Yeah,
Stargazing.
yeah, exactly.
Stargazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good. And because Vladimir, you're asking about establishing swing, it's got to be during the count off or the introduction or just starting to play.
Right.
Really, the same kind of flow for all those. It has to be that great combination of confidence and actual established time and swing already.
That's right.
So what I like to do, and especially when I was kind of more a little greener in this and trying to learn it more, was really to, before I even started the count off or introduction, was to sing in my mind,
Your mind's ear.
my mind's ear, as it were, some of the tune, or maybe the end of the tune, or something like what the tempo. So it's established in me before I even start. Because I hate that when people start like they're like, no, let's do a little. And I'm like, oh, you got me going here. You know, where you at? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
don't start. Like once you start with the count off, you're in charge. You got to be confident. It's kind of like if you're leading people on a hike and everyone's like not sure where to go. It's like, oh, we're going this way.
Right.
You got to be confident, but you also have to be right. You
That's
can't
right.
just be like, let's go this way. Oh, no, that's going off the cliff.
Yeah. So it actually is a great tip, I think, to take like 5 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
5, 10 seconds before you do anything that the band could hear or see.
Yeah.
And just establish what's going to happen. Where do you want this to happen? And Vladimir, you can. So if you want to establish like a swing feel with someone, it's hard to do with just one. I mean, you could do like 1, 2, oh. Like to give some kind of corny, corny ass swing count off.
Oh, right?
You could. We don't want that so much.
No.
So you might have to do some explaining beforehand. But like if you do what we were doing, you know, with the tune, I could explain the feel of things from a confident count off, like I could just start the tune that way, and
But is that a count off?
well, but so
That's more of
by
an intro.
an intro by starting
Yeah.
the tune right in this way, right? Or I could go, and everybody knows that it's a little straighter, right? We're gonna do an ECM straight A,
Right.
right? Or I could do my shoegaze.
Shoegaze. Oh, come on.
Either way.
He's a gazer. He's
Either
a gazer.
way, it's gonna work.
Yeah, but that's more intro. Like I say, he's asking count off, but it's all good. Cool. All right, what else we got here?
So we got a question from Nick. Hey, what are some things you guys do away from your instruments to improve as a musician? I already know listen is number one. Haha, thanks.
Hey.
Well, guess what, Nick? We're still going to say listen first and
number
foremost.
one. Yeah.
There's no more important thing you can do.
No.
There's no more important thing you can do. I've been really into creating playlists on a daily basis for like, here's my September 14th playlist, and maybe it has 10 to 20 tunes on it.
Yeah.
Trying to mix in things that I know really well with things that I don't know at all, right? Really trying to alternate between new music for me, new to me music,
Right.
even if it's older, but like new to me music and things that I love. And that has been a really beautiful. Oh, we got a little picture-in-picture.
You saw that? I was just seeing if you're
That's
paying
really
attention.
nice.
I got toys here.
That for me,
I got
like
little toys.
just having, because I realized like so I have my vinyl, right? And I even have, I don't know if you know this, but I have a CD player on my home stereo setup.
Oh, I love the hushed tones.
Like
You
it's
thought. Yeah, I don't know if you knew
1996 up in this
this.
piece.
Yeah.
But I love having all these options because CDs sound freaking sweet, man.
They do.
But I was gonna say, like, I was thinking, like, how can I use Spotify in a better way
Right.
to make my life better, right?
Yeah.
As convenient as Spotify is, and as much as I actually hate having to use it,
Yeah.
it is like for someone who grew up without all the music in the world at their fingertips, it's pretty awesome.
Hey Siri, play Art Blakey. I mean, can we have
it's
imagined
really
that as children?
ridiculous. Remember, you just had to like covet your, the $20 Art Blakey tape
Yeah. Right.
or CD when you were a kid, and then save up for it. But now you like $20 a month and you have everything you could ever possibly want. But anyway, how do we get over the overwhelmingness of Spotify?
Right.
Create a playlist every day. Here's what I'm listening to today, and that's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Try that. That's been working great for me.
I've been having some fun with the shared playlist too, and we've got some. Don't we have some? Still have the Open Studio playlist up?
Yeah, Open Studio has a Spotify channel.
right.
We have all of our playlists on there. Go check them out. We have a ton of great ones. But the idea, though, Nick, is that, and I know you already know, listen is number one. You have to make this a priority in your practice.
Yeah.
This is part of your practice.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
And if you want to actually consider, like, blocking off some practice time, like I have an hour of practice time, how about 20 minutes of listening to start your practice time? And that counts. That counts as good work.
Me likey.
Yeah.
Me likey that. I would say one other thing that pops to mind that I've done quite a bit of over the years practicing away from the instrument is singing. This can take its form in many ways, but like what I would typically do is if I'm working on a tune or just thinking about a tune, or certainly if I'm working on and learning a new tune, is to go through a performance of that tune. And I'll usually do this when I go walk around. For some reason, it just flows easier.
Yeah.
And I'll imagine playing it on the piano, but then I'm singing and improvise, almost like accompanying myself,
Man.
Depending on your level of, I know you've been doing some vocal lessons, you're a fine singer, so you might be able to do this around people. I go to a very remote, deserted area of St. Louis to do this so that I don't offend anyone except for the animals. And we'll just go through and really try to sing what I'm thinking about is like how the harmony feels, and I'm really trying to nail a good improvised solo. And I find that I can reach different things. I mean, we do this at the piano. We talk about hearing and singing a solo at the piano while you're accompanying, and then trying to really flesh that out and to learn that, be able to play that. But when you're totally away from the instrument, like really you're just relying on your ears and trying to create something, but then think about how you are going to transfer it back to your instrument once you get there.
And it's so funny you brought this up. I was literally just thinking about this yesterday. I was on a long walk. I was singing to myself on the walk. I was doing exactly what you're saying. Like I had some chord changes in mind, and I was like, I remembered that when I was a kid, like in middle school and probably even high school, I used to do this all the time. I used to just sing like, remember that? Remember being a kid and just making an ass out of yourself in front of everybody, or drumming on your desk?
Yeah.
And how But remember finding some funky stuff doing this, right? And I remember finding like my sense of time singing, vocalizing, and drumming on things, right? To the terrible bereavement of everyone around me who hated me tapping on all this shit and hating me singing stuff.
Yeah.
I think it made me a better musician. And I was just thinking as I was doing this the other day on my walk, I was like, I need to be doing this more. This is like, it's annoying, but I think this is what we do. I mean, if it's good enough, like most things, if it's good enough for Clark Terry, it's good enough for you.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, look, this is really the way you start to hear stuff. I mean, we talk about listen. This is like the actual manifestation of listening and hearing stuff. So it's just, singing and, I remember like when I first started to learn some drums, even when I didn't have access to drums a lot, but I'd do it like in the band room, and I started learning some beats. And so I would start doing that and, just
right.
And then work on like independence of the hands and stuff. And like, I always feel like that helped me later on write for drums and be able to play with drummers,
for sure.
Stuff like that.
Remember those desks in the 80s and 70s that had the big hollow where you would put your book underneath?
Yeah.
Perfect drum.
Yep.
I mean, it was
almost like that. What's the Brazilian, not the Bayonne.
What is that
the
called?
one that Montez always brings to the Christmas concert.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's Peruvian.
Oh, it's Peruvian.
Yeah, what is it?
Cajon.
That's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there was those desks.
Wait, is that cajones? Is that the same? No, that's a different. Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't know.
Those desks
Cajon
were
and
perfect.
plural is cojones.
Were perfect cajones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put some snares on the back of those.
That's right.
Those joints. You could really do some damage. But
Yeah.
I think you're totally right, man. I mean, think about I was doing that all day. There's no doubt in my mind that the hand-eye coordination it takes to do stuff like and then you start putting like
Triplets.
over the bar stuff on it. You start like improvising. Even though you're not a great drummer, we're pianists, right?
Let's do a little rhythmic improv.
All right, ready?
Okay.
All right, I'll go. Oh man. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, let's get our mics.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Bam!
You can have that for free, everybody.
You're still gonna ask for change. Yeah, but I think that's rhythmic conceptions, melodic conceptions. Getting away from the instrument can be such a profitable time for us in our development if we're open to it.
Love it. So, what was the
Ow.
question?
Ow.
Oh, what are some things you could do away from your instrument? So that's it. So listening, vocalizing, drumming. It all sounds trivial. I mean, you could certainly, do some exercises in your brain. I would also say you could practice, this sounds weird, but again, going back to the integrity of being an artist and being a performer, you could practice going like, how long can you go saying exactly what you're thinking?
Mm.
Because that's something that it takes courage to do
Yeah.
in real life, and that's something that is, I think, directly translatable to playing music in front of people.
Mm.
How long can you go playing what you're hearing in your head without judging what's about to happen and trying to be cool? You know what I'm saying? It's what artists do, man.
3 seconds.
Exactly. It's freaking tough. Okay, let's keep going here. By the way, Hermeto has a question that he's asked twice, and I just want to put out there, Hermeto, if you're still here, you say, can you please give examples of tips of when you were using the one-tone scales? And I don't know what that means, and I'm not sure, Peter, if you know what that means.
No.
But if you could clarify what you mean, Hermeto, we don't really know what that means, but we'd love to answer your question.
I mean, is a one-tone scale? That's hard.
Didn't we kind of just do that on the table?
Yeah. Right.
George says, is this thing on? Yes.
Yeah.
Jake should mention some pianists to start out with transcribing albums, artists, something easy to hear. Great question, Jake.
Oh, yeah, to start. So, let's see. Well, we're always talking about Freddie Freeloader, Wynton Kelly solo. It's a relatively simple solo, I think. I don't know if it's total beginner to start out, but hold on.
Come on now.
Sorry. Allergies, not COVID. Allergies, not COVID.
Thank you.
Okay, I would say horn players before almost any piano solos would be good ones. Miles Davis.
Yep.
I like this solo on, well, there's several versions of it, but the first approved take on Bag's Groove.
Yep.
The Green album on Prestige. I think it's called Bag's Groove. Miles Davis. I think that one is very beginner in that it's approachable. It's not like going to take you 5 minutes to transcribe. You still got to, something to dig into. But I think that's really good. The Thelonious Monk solo actually on there is relatively simple. I always like to kind of gravitate towards that. But whatever you want to find, like what's even better is to find a solo that you love, that you've listened to a lot, like the simplest solo that you can find, and just do one chorus from that. Like literally think of all the different tracks or albums that you like.
Yeah.
And then try to go through and find what is the one with the least number of notes in it on any instrument.
Totally.
And that's where you should start, because you already know it. You've heard it. You can hear it. But, the process of learning, it's going to be so much easier if you take something that you love and know already.
Yeah, I'm going to put Sonny Rollins' Blue 7 solo in that camp as well, especially if you take just the first few choruses, which, by the way, when you're starting out, this is totally legal. Yes. Don't let anybody tell you have to.
Well, the jazz police, you got to.
Don't let the jazz police tell you that you have to know every single note of the entire. I mean, yes, Ideally, yes, eventually. But if you're like stuck and you don't know what to do, speaking of Bags Groove, at the Monday Transcribing Club that we have here at Open Studio, that we're going to start very soon again, we did Oscar Peterson solo on Bags Groove from Night Train. And the first, I would say, 3 choruses even of that solo are very simple. And he just is in the pocket laying down some amazing blues language. So stuff like that can be really helpful. The first chorus of Bill Evans' solo on Autumn Leaves from Portrait and Jazz. Yep. Easy to hear. Yep. Actually, the first solo on Herbie Hancock on One Finger Snap. Easy to hear. It's relatively simple. It's not very fast.
Right. Then it kind of takes off after that.
It takes off after all these do kind of by the end of Oscar's solo. It's like who can hear that?
Right.
He's doing all this crazy stuff. Same thing with Herbie. But I think for the start of those, it's very easy and accessible to get into, in my opinion.
Great. We just had a question working from the bottom. Where should a self-taught, I can't pronounce, but that looks like just random letters. Where should a self-taught pianist start to learn jazz chords and voicings? Any book recommendations? I've watched the 2-minute jazz videos to great benefit, but often am missing some foundational info.
So we do have a course, actually.
We do have a course, not to plug our own course, but I think it's actually perfect. Would you say jazz piano for beginners or jazz piano jumpstart?
Well, I was going to say jazz chords for beginners is this specifically is the course.
Yep.
So, but any of those 3 would actually be great.
Yeah, I think jazz chords for beginners is good. And the thing is about
I'll put a link in the chat here.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily anti-book, but I always feel like that's like learning a language from reading it as opposed to hearing it, and what we try to do with the videos. And there's some other great courses, Artist Works, and many other good places to get courses. But I love the video medium if you don't have access to an in-person teacher, which most people don't right now. But especially if you're self-taught and maybe not traditionally taught. I don't know, like I mean the famous jazz piano book by Levine is very good. I think I haven't gone deep into it. I know I've heard great things about it, but for a self-taught, more beginner kind of, I don't know if that would be it just gets so theoretical.
It's fine, but what we get to do, and really this is what we've discovered can be so impactful about the video courses, is in the jazz chords for beginners, it's all guided practice session. I'm literally telling you what to play, what to practice. We set the metronome. There's no guesswork and like, well, how long should I stay with this, or how should we? It's just we do what what the instructor says, and it's almost like a guided meditation or like a spin class.
Yes,
something like that. But it is like that, and
a friendly jazzy spin class
for beginners, especially. They seem to respond really well to that. Whereas a more advanced player who knows how to practice, knows how to grow, has their own systems for doing that. Throw all the information at them, and they're going to sort that information out and put it in ways that they know can work. But for beginner, we recommend these videos because we are able to hold the student's hand in a way that really makes them sound good. I think. And I'm so proud of this that we do this, man. Is sound good as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, and I think that the guided practice sessions, especially at this level, is a real game changer. I mean, and it's not. I mean, that's just what people have been saying to us, and so it's a great program that you've developed. Because I used to think more like, oh, you should know how to practice, but that's kind of like oh, you should know what to do once you get to the gym. Yeah, if you're like a gym rat or you grew up with a parent that was a personal trainer, you're going to know intuitively what to do when you get in there. It's not as easy as just grab a weight and start doing it. But to get what all the nuances and the types of things that you do in the guided practice session, it's not the only way, but it gives you a efficiency advantage by doing it in that way, and gets you to the position where you can develop. Because all this stuff is you're practicing on your own. Just like in the gym, you're the one who's asked to pump the iron, but it puts you in an efficiency standpoint with the camaraderie of others doing the GPSs too. That really gives you a great advantage.
It's true. We got a couple of funny questions here. Ian says, what's the best music to listen to get pumped up for running? Asking for a friend. And that's funny because I know Ian is your running guy, right?
Yes, and he's a mindfulness coach as well, and is very interested because you keep mentioning your expertise in meditation, and I've bragged about it, and he wants you to be in touch with him.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Ian.
Totally a side note from the.
Let's come up with a mindfulness for jazz piano course. That'd be really fun.
There we go. So he wants to know, what was the question?
Oh, what's the best music to listen to get pumped for running? What do you listen to on your runs?
Well, I don't really listen while I'm running, but to pump up before, I'm definitely not listening to like mellow jazz. Now, I used to do. I used to go on some long runs.
Black
and I had
coats.
Yeah, right. I had kind of like a playlist that was just a lot of stuff that was sort of deep listening for me because it was stuff I knew really well.
Yeah.
But I find that like rhythmically and stuff, it gets I get a little bit thrown off with music while I'm running because we're talking about practicing different things and rhythmic things as well as, melodic singing and stuff. But um, I kind of relate a lot of the running. I really get into a pace. And like
Nice.
I almost kind of work on my time in a weird way while I'm doing that. So if the music is not at that tempo as the running tempo, it gets a little bit jarring for me. But I think pumping up beforehand, that's like an important thing. Like, and I would say, yeah, actually Black Codes, that would be great. Anything Kenny Kirkland solo now. Come on.
Tour Talk says, what's the best thing to drink when practicing? Well,
This was not bad. A little
espresso.
Little blueprint espresso.
I always go for coffee, especially in morning practice. Coffee is the best. I tend not to drink alcohol, well, much at all anymore, but practicing even at night, it just makes me less motivated to finish,
It's time to chill. It's like chill time.
It's chill time.
Yeah.
Save the wine for like your treat after your reward. For
Little reward.
practicing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now I've been known to do a little. I haven't done it recently, but you know what? I think I do it more in the winter months now that I'm remembering. I'll do a little like bourbon or whiskey or even like a cognac or an Armagnac.
Some little warm your throat.
Yeah. At the piano. Now, of course, we're never setting it on the piano. A real pianist does not put beverages on the piano.
That's right.
A real pianist put beverages in their belly, right?
That's right.
But no, just like a nice little reward. And that actually you can use as like a little sip every time, say if you're going through some scales or whatever. You don't want to turn it into a drinking game. That's not going to work because your mileage may vary YMMV, as we are always saying. So, cool.
Alfonso asks, what are some good ear training exercises? Peter, what have you done ear training wise to like actually work on your ear training?
Well, I think, two things that jump out. I mean, it's been many things, but probably the two most impactful things over the years for me was first really getting a deep understanding of intervals. Like not even only a deep understanding, just like a recall on that. And so just drill. And those are really easy to drill. And you can, have a friend help you is kind of better where you're just playing. I remember my mom or my dad would play, just play intervals and then different ways and I'd identify them or whatever. So that's just, but I think that's so fundamental to all the ear training you'll ever do is being able to identify. Because, when we start talking about any kind of harmonic conceptions, being able to hear them, not necessarily theoretically analyze them, but being able to hear them, it's always combination of intervals. But also when you're learning solos, and that's my number two big ear training thing is learning solos. Like all that time I spent floundering through and messing it. Is this right? What is he playing? But then you trying to match it up. I mean, that's just priceless.
That is the best training. And don't you think learning intervals, it's almost more important for most improvising musicians to learn intervals rather than even learn how to read music. Because if you know intervals and you can hear anything like that, like intervallically, you can pick out your own music from recordings, which then, as you just said, when you then have to match it up, right? Yeah. That is some additional like ear strength training, right? That is just essential for any great musician. I think learning solos, even learning, just learning melodies, trying to pick out chords. Like I get a lot of people who are like, it's so frustrating to try to pick out voicings or chords. I'm like, well, yeah, because you don't do it. Like, just do it. If you just do it, you start to understand what's going on. You start to be able to hear things better. It's like anything else. The more you do it, the easier it gets. So you just have to throw yourself in there and do it, even though it's kind of a drag at first.
Yeah, and it's it's a process. Like ear training is a process, even for people that have great ears. It's so much more of a process than you realize, like the amount of time that you need to spend. But it's fun if you do it right. And so, we're always talking about falling in love with the process. I mean, and that's the great thing about learning solos, picking things off of recordings that you like, is that it's very exciting as you start to do it. And I mean, and the nice thing too is like, even as you're failing, you're actually developing your ears. It's one of those things like, and you're going to be failing 95% of the time in the beginning. So you just can't get discouraged. Grab onto the wins, make sure you're always learning things that are relatively easy. And then also, I think it's good to take some traditional, I think this is definitely not necessary, but if you want to do some more traditional ear training, sight singing, that kind of thing, or even just like get yourself a Methodist or Baptist hymnal. And, and then this is a little bit more reading based, but the idea is that you're playing, just sing your part. If you're soprano, sing that and then leave out the other parts. And you'll start to,
But if you already know how to read music, this is really helpful for ear training.
Exactly.
So Ian asked, same Ian asked, as a drummer, I would love to hear you both discuss what you like to hear from a drummer in a trio context, and then interplay. Yeah.
Oh, he wants us to play some more.
Are you sure? Yeah, you want us to play some more drums? Interplay between drummer piano you strive for. Thanks. So this is, I think, the drummer-pianist relationship can be one of the more rewarding. I mean, it's all good, but there's something really special about finding a drummer that you vibe with and that you can react to and you're having a conversation with. And so, but I think like every other instrument for me, and we've talked about this lots before, but the drummers that that I vibe with the most are super clear with the form. That's like first and foremost.
Yes.
Time and form, they're really great at marking the landscape of the tune, right?
Definitely.
And that gives everybody in the band freedom. And that also should be your job too as a pianist or a bassist, is like marking the form, no matter what kind of music you're playing, is part of our job in the rhythm section. And so a good drummer who you start to have a relationship with and understand how they mark the form and how they can play off of that, that's when it gets really, really good for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think what is that saying? Discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
You know, so you take
exactly
the discipline of somebody marking the form. I mean, the key I think is that, you know, everybody internally is marking the form. Like that's the top level. Like when there's this innate sense of what the form is. But I think that when there's that kind of almost unspoken trust that the drummer, and I know I'm old school. If I have any fault, it's that I'm too old school with my thought process here. I know it's supposed to be free and gazing at your shoes only, introspection and flannel shirts.
You always mention these any faults, but there seem to be a lot of them.
I have a lot of faults. If I have any faults, it's that I have a lot of faults.
If I have any fault, it's that I have several faults.
I'm like a California fault line. No, but the thing is, so the drummer, I look at it as a traditional thing. I'm like, yeah, everyone's supposed to have a good time and know the form, but the drummer's really supposed to know it. So what happens is the discipline equals freedom. The drummer's discipline of like really nailing the form. And I don't mean like bang, like on one every chorus in an annoying way. I mean, like they're always playing the form. They're not counting bars. Like they're playing the song all the time.
So important.
So they're supporting you. So it gives you a freedom, and in fact gives them a freedom in the whole rhythm section and the whole band. But it especially gives the, you know, if you're soloing or whatever, the freedom to know that you can do whatever you want. And then that helps you to learn. Like, you know, part of the thing, and whenever people compliment me about like, oh wow, you play the form so well, your time is so good, I'm always quick to like give credit where credit's due, and that is not only the whoever I'm playing with at that time, but the years of playing with these master drummers. You're talking about Greg Hutchinson, Brian Blade, Herlin Riley, Montez Coleman. I mean, these are some of the musicians I play with more than anybody. So it's like I'm actually, when you consider the company I've kept drummer wise, Carl Allen, Ulysses Owens, you know, the company I've kept, I'm actually not that good at my time now that I think about it. If I have any fault, it's that I didn't heed all this expertise. But you know, also just Elvin Jones. I feel like I've played with Elvin Jones because I used to play along with his recordings and imagine playing with him. You know, you gotta draw on all the different elements. Max Roach. Everybody.
I would say too, an important characteristic for a great drummer is the same as any other musician, which is that they put a real priority on listening to the rest of the band and their place in it. And because it can be an instrument that can just kill everybody else. It can sonically destroy. It could take us all out if it wanted to.
It is the veritable sonic boom.
It could be.
Of
so a
jazz.
drummer that is sensitive enough to be able to keep an intense groove in a quiet dynamic and then know when to take it up and can like I don't want a drummer to be quiet the whole time either. Like I want them to elevate the room.
Exactly.
Like only they have the power to do, you know.
Ooh, so. Jeff Watts. That's another good one. Like like how do you become a little bit aggressive, not a little bit, but like aggressive at the right times with your ideas and with your time. And
Paul has a great question here. Do you have any advice on being able to play what you hear? I can hear a sort of melodic outline in my head, but not any specific notes. So, Paul, that's a great start, is understanding that what you're hearing in your head, that needs to be what comes through. Even if it's not specific to the notes, you can go a long, long way and actually sound a lot better doing that, trying to get that out, than just not hearing anything and running your hands over some BS that you don't actually care about.
Would you like to give an example of that?
So I can do all sorts of things like BS wise. I mean, it all sounds fine.
That's pretty good. Some people are going to be like, whoa, I wouldn't mind playing that. So.
Yeah, but I don't care about what I just played. There's
Right.
no impact to me. But if I wanted to play like...
Oh, he's feeling it. He's feeling it. He's feeling it. Look at that. Oh, stargazing. Possible stargazing on his way.
All of that meant something to me as it was happening, because it was just what was happening in the moment. It was
Yep.
the music that I was hearing. So even though it was a lot simpler, which you should argue is a lot better anyway, it was authentic, and that's what you want to go for. So you have to practice that.
Right. That's right. We are what we practice. I mean, it's such a obvious thing, but it's just so true. The authenticity that's required to play this music effectively can never be underestimated. And when we're by our whoa, kind of adjusting over here, feeling good though.
Yeah.
So when we're practicing alone, which is normally how we're practicing, unless we're in a lucky GPS situation or whatever, there's such an opportunity to learn to talk to yourself musically, because I always think of like performing music, and really I would say, I think this extends into any kind of artistic endeavor. I don't really know, but I'm thinking like dance or theater or whatever. It's such a unique combination of introspective talking to yourself and sharing directly with an audience the energy of your art with them and getting back something. It's a very lonely thing in a way, because it's just like you have to get so much into what you're doing and getting in touch with this authenticity that you can't be distracted by the audience or pandering to them if you're thinking about them too much. But on the other hand, you can't just you need the audience and that energy, and what the energy that brings should affect and inform your art on any particular night. So when you're practicing, it's really just one part of what you're doing. But I think it's so important to get in touch with that inner you that you're going to share with the world, and be authentic and be ready for that and make that a part of your practice routine.
For sure. And some things that we like to do, specific things you can do to practice this, Paul, is we do this on the guided practice session all the time, actually, is you can practice taking a couple of choruses, right, over a tune that you know really, really well. We'll just do a blues in F here, because that's a tune that I know very, very well.
That's right.
So we can do a couple of choruses, and I'll play a chorus just running my fingers, right? Can you give me a little bass line, Pete?
Yes, I can.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I was literally trying to not play what I was hearing.
Right.
Trying to just run my fingers over stuff that I know will work, but it's not really in my head at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to like sing my way through this one. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I have a more limited vocal range, obviously, but none of what I just sang was any part of what I had just played. So there's a gap there, right,
Yep.
in what I'm hearing in my head and what I'm playing. Now, what you can do is you do 3 choruses. So you do your first where you're trying not to hear and you're just running your fingers. Now we'll combine the two. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That, in my opinion, was the best of the 3 choruses that I took, right? Because it was really just combining this what I understand at the piano, but maybe can't sing totally, and combining what's actually going on in my heart to my hands. Yeah, no, it's definitely an emotional thing out to the fingers. I think that combination, that's like we talk about hearing what you play and telling your story and all that stuff, but like this is a very practical way to actually practice it.
Yeah. That's good. I've got nothing to add.
Excellent.
Yep. All right. Janet asks, what's up, Janet? Can you talk about slow practice with a metronome and how best to approach speeding up? How to go through the transition from painstakingly slow to really swinging. Thanks, guys. Well, it's interesting, Janet, you say painstakingly slow to really swinging. I think the key to really getting the most out of metronome practice and restricting yourself to practicing slow, say with the metronome we can practice at any tempo. That's the beauty of it. But if you're talking about this, which can be very effective, starting slow and painstakingly pushing it up, that's how you do it. You don't skip any areas. But we want to think about, don't wait until you start going fast to think about swinging. A lot of people make this mistake. So they might be able to, we're on the F blues, and be like, oh, I can swing. But what about, let's do it. 1, 2.
I don't know about this. All right.
Painstakingly slow. Bam.
It's hard to hang on.
It's hard to hang on. It's hard to
Gotta stretch after that mug.
yeah, like to not alter from that. But that's where the women from the girls are separated out, because what we're really talking about is the same things as. Okay, so we got one. That's hard. That's hard to make that sound good. And so, but what it does is, like, if you can work on your swing before you get to that fast tempo, you're going to be in such a better position. And then we're just working it up very, very slowly, like one click. I mean, I'm old school. We're old school here with the metronome. We're on the actual metronome, so we're just going up whatever it is, 2 or 4 BPMs at a time. And just learning to swing at those different tempos. I think, too, like, I remember playing with Betty Carter, and she was very, like, adamant about the ballads. She would do these ballads. What was it, like? The Man I Love. It was like 1, 2.
Oh my goodness.
3. The Man I Love.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, everything that you play has to be so, perfectly placed. And then you're thinking about, like, I would always think about, if there wasn't, like, if you're playing solo, if you have a great drummer, which we did, they're filling in that space. But I think about those brushes. So if you're like, that's filling in between each beat. But if we go to half notes, wait a second. Can you keep the pulse going on those slow half notes?
I'm sitting here doing 16 notes.
So those kind of exercises can really help you, not only obviously to play slow. Now, you might not have a lot of occasion to do that, but that will help your internal clock. That'll help your pulse. That'll help your time, really.
Yeah.
So being able to play fast, practice slow.
That's great. And actually, someone was asking about rhythmic training. That's one of the best rhythmic training exercises you can do, too, is set your metronome as slow as you can possibly take it and practice vocalizing some of the subdivisions in there. I think that's some of the best rhythmic training you can do.
Yeah, and then mix it up with the metronome. Like, even say if you're practicing at, say like about here, you could do, you don't really want to do the metronome on all 4, but maybe you're doing them all 2 and 4, right? A 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got that going, and then and that metronome's going there. But then what about the metronome just on 4?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, So I got a human metronome. Look at that.
Let's try my best. Try my best. We got time for one more question. Thank you all.
We're ending the party?
Oh man, it's almost 4:00. We're almost here for an hour,
Oh,
so
that's
we'll
right,
do one
right,
more.
right.
Maybe we'll do two more. We'll do two.
Thank
more
you guys
questions.
for joining us, man, on a big Monday. We're bringing Monday back. Where did it go? It didn't go anywhere. I don't know
We're
where.
bringing Monday back. Yeah, thanks for all the amazing questions. This has been
Waddle,
great, man.
waddle,
That's what I'm
wah.
saying, man. YouTube questions are better.
That's right.
They're just better.
Big shout out. What if some of these are the same people as Instagram? Maybe the same people on Instagram just they get dumbed down by the whole platform. I don't know.
I think that's
What am I
possible.
talking about?
John asks, I understand using modes and I understand the different sounds for each mode scale, but I don't understand when someone refers to a song that is written modally. Does that mean there's no key center?
I
yes.
never knew this actually, so this will be good.
No, essentially when someone says let's play a modal tune, what they mean is a tune that doesn't have what we call functional harmony, a lot of 5-1 movements, a lot of traditional Western harmony cadences, but is really centered around just a few different tonal centers, and those can be not random but seemingly random, unlike say like if you were to play My Romance, and everything is based off of the tonal center of B flat. You have all these subdominants and exactly, like everything has a direction, right? Every chord is either a direction to another chord, or is the landing point, the resolution, right?
And there's even if it's like a deceptive cadence, it's still got a certain logic to it.
There's tension and resolution built into the harmony. Whereas in a modal tune, like say "So What," as Peter was just playing.
Why so loud?
In a tune like that, there is no built-in tension and release to the actual chord itself, right? There's no,
right,
or even this, right? There's no like tension that you can lean on in the chord changes. And so when someone says let's play a modal tune, they mean a tune like that doesn't have that kind of functional harmony. And what's great about that is it's actually very freeing. You can then add any kind of tension you want, and that's what players often do to a tune like "So What." Instead of having a minor 2-5-1. Why am I doing it so? Instead of having that function.
My liege.
Instead of having that built in, you have to create that yourself, and that's what people do. So you might, instead of having a minor 2-5-1, you can do stuff like create tension by doing chromaticism, or really any way you like. It's really your call.
Yeah, and I think I'm actually not sure about this. You have to correct me if I'm wrong, please, Adam. But I think if you think about being kind of, oh, sorry, I got the wrong thing. Hey, how you doing? If you think about it like D minor, so what? Like that's your home base. Like that's where everything is happening. That kind of makes it modal, even if it was just that section. Of course, we know it just goes up to there and then comes back. So there's a certain amount of functionality in a way, I guess. But the idea of like, if it's not modal, you can still have a D Dorian, but it's at a certain point, it's there and then it's going there. But this is like the one,
Yeah.
And it's not even like, I guess it could be. That'd be another mode, right?
It's whatever you want it to be in that sense. Yeah.
A lot of times we're looking at like the Phrygian. That's the one actually, as opposed to it's not leading anywhere.
Yeah. There's nowhere it's leading. You have to accept what's happening.
Yeah.
Do you know the tune Night Dreamer?
Oh yeah, Wayne Shorter.
Yeah, I don't know that tune actually. Someone's asking about how to play the vamp. G major, F minor 7, E flat, and D7 alt all crammed into 2 bars.
Well, that'll be great if we go out on a question on a tune that we don't know.
That'd be awesome.
No, but maybe I remember playing Night Dreamer. I can't remember how it goes. Dude, is that dude?
I don't know it. No, this is for Albert.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know. I know one thing. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we will see.
Oh, we got Hermetov's question we can answer.
Okay.
He meant the whole tone. So let's see.
Oh, whole tone. Okay.
So could you please give any examples, tips,
Oh,
where
I
you
started
are using the
okay.
whole tone scale? Okay, so that's a great question. How do you use the whole tone scale? Where do you use it? Why would you ever use it?
Oh, you're asking me.
Well, no, we
Sorry.
can ask anybody. So, but this could go back to a modal thing for sure. So, especially on a vamp or on like a pedal, like if you're doing something like. You could use it. They're great for building. Whole tone scales are great for building tension like that. You could also use it as.
They're a little menacing, right? It's got a little bit of a menacing sound to it.
You could use it as a dominant. It's very airy sounding.
Yep.
You know.
Ooh la la, my liege.
Very dreamlike in that regard.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think too.
I only use it as a texture like that. I would never play it in changes, right?
No, but you could think about, there's just playing it, but then there's like broken fifths, broken thirds. But also one way I like to look at any kind of scale is a possibility to explore triads. So if you go,
oh yeah, there you go.
I'm just playing triad. These are, what is it, second inversion triads coming down. But I'm still using the pattern, the foundation of the pattern as,
famous. You can do the Meldau-esque.
Yeah, you better look at your shoes if you're even going to think about doing that.
Love that one.
Yeah, cool. Well, should we do our little, let's see here. If I play this correctly, this is always nerve-wracking because, we think it's playing, but we don't really know, do we? No, we don't know if it's playing.
Well,
We could, wait.
are we going out on
Yeah,
this?
I think we're going out.
Is this how we're going out? I think it's playing is how we're going out. Oh,
I mean, that's what
God.
we've been reduced to. I mean, we're getting better, but we still aren't quite there. Look at that. There it is. And it's coming up. You know how we do it. Till tomorrow.
You'll hear it. We'll be back next Monday. Join us again.
Live.
3
p.m. Eastern.
Peace.
4 p.m. Eastern.